Have you ever looked at someone else's business, podcast, social media, or success and thought, maybe I should be doing what they're doing? Maybe that's the strategy I'm missing. Or maybe if I just follow their formula, I'd finally get the results that I want. But what if the very thing that you're chasing is the thing that is disconnecting you from your own power? Just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it has to work for you. Welcome to the Soul Aligned Podcast. My name is Andrea Crisp. I'm a coach, author, guide, and I support intuitive women in reconnecting with their inner knowing so they can live, lead, and create from a place of deep alignment. My own path has been one of unraveling, releasing old identities, healing patterns, and learning to trust the wisdom within. This space is an invitation to return to yourself, to explore the inner truth, the nervous system, and energetic shifts that allow your life to unfold with more ease, clarity, and truth. So take a breath and let's begin. Today we're talking about something that I really believe every entrepreneur, every leader, every creative, and every woman on a growth journey experiences. And that is comparison. Now, not the obvious kind of comparison where we're just looking at somebody else and we're wishing that we had what they have, but a deeper comparison where we actually start to abandon ourselves. We stop listening to our wisdom and we start looking outside of ourselves for permission. It's like that moment where we see somebody launching a podcast and suddenly we think, oh, I need to launch a podcast. Or we see someone writing a book and think, oh, maybe that's my next step. Or we see someone's marketing strategy, what their offer is, their content, like maybe even a speaking engagement that they have. And instead of thinking, is this something that is aligned for me? Is this something that I truly want or desire? We ask, how do I recreate what they're doing? And this is where so many of us get stuck. I know that it's something that I have struggled with. I hear so many of my peers say the same thing. Clients say the same thing. Just because you can borrow someone else's strategy does not mean you can borrow someone else's alignment. You might be able to copy the action, but you cannot replicate the energy behind it. So when you try and build something that is not meant for you, it often feels like it's heavy. It feels like you're pushing a boulder up a hill. And the thing about it is that it's not that you're incapable or that it's particularly wrong for you. It's that you're not meant to do that because your soul was not asking for you to walk that path or for that to be part of your own journey. And I know for myself, like I have felt this so often when I see different friends, they're succeeding in something, they're doing something really amazing. And immediately I have this like feeling like, oh, I wish I was doing that, or I wish my business looked like that, or I wonder if I should have that person on my podcast, or I wonder if I should be doing that. But the moment we fall into that trap of comparing ourselves with someone else, it's a sign that we're disconnected from ourselves and from our intuition. So comparison is not always about jealousy. Sometimes it's information. It's just showing you where you have stopped trusting yourself. When we look outside of ourselves for answers, we override our own authority. Now, in the last episode, I talked all about authority from the human design standpoint. So if you are questioning, like, how do I understand what my authority is? You definitely want to go back and listen to that episode. Now, often you're going to find that you're probably overriding your own authority if you're asking yourself these questions. What should I do? Because you really don't know. You're not trusting yourself. Or you're looking around going, well, what is everybody else doing? And maybe I should do that. Or is there a proven formula? Like, I need that. I need to know what the proven formula is. Instead, we can look to ourselves, trust our own inner wisdom and say, what feels true for me? Or what am I being called toward? What is mine to create? Just this past week, I had the most beautiful conversation with a good friend of mine where we were talking all about this, how it can be so tempting for us to take a look into the lane of the person beside us and think, oh, she's doing that and that's amazing and I should probably be doing that. And I wonder if my business would grow in this way if I did that, or I wonder if I get more clients, or I wonder. But the moment we take our eyes off our own vision, off our own mission, and stop trusting ourselves, that is the moment when we stop being in alignment with what we've been called to do. Because not everything is for us. And I think that is one of the biggest, most difficult, most challenging lessons I've had to learn, is that just because someone else's opportunity might be really amazing, it doesn't necessarily have to be yours. And just because someone else's podcast format might be successful, like maybe they have guest speakers on their podcast, maybe that's not your way of expressing yourself. Just because someone's speaking or marketing or writing or selling in a way that works for them, it doesn't necessarily have to be the way you do it. And if you're trying to do everyone else's framework, if you're trying to do things in a way that everyone else is doing, doesn't necessarily mean that is bad. It just means that that works for them. Your job is not to find the perfect formula. It is to build enough trust with yourself to recognize what is for you. Oh my gosh, I can't say that enough. It's not about finding the strategy, the right strategy. Yes, there will be a strategy. It's about trusting yourself to recognize what is for you and what is not for you. And I hear so often, coaches say you should market like this, you should sell like that, you should use copy like this, you should, have one-on-one clients, you should do just group coaching, you should, not work a 9 to 5, you should not have an extra job, you should not this. The moment you find yourself always looking at what everyone else is doing and thinking you should do it that way is the moment you have abdicated your own power and your own authority, and you're like, here, you tell me what to do. And my own experience with this is that recently I saw somebody doing something really cool. And I was like, I love the way they're showing up. I love what they're creating. And they're getting an amazing response with what they were doing. And for a moment, I found myself going back into, well, maybe that's what I should do. And I got caught up in it. I started imagining what it would be like for me to do that and how I would function in this way. But when I actually checked in with myself, even though it was a really good idea, and even though it was successful, and even though it was working for them, I knew that it wasn't for me. And that's the part we often miss. Because even if something looks incredible, it still may not be aligned for us. And we're not being called to do the same thing as everyone else and have the same success as everyone else. We're being invited to trust our own path. Now, one of my very dear friends, Binu, she does a very similar type of work that I do. And we talk daily. We really do. We send voice texts back and forth. The beauty with having a friend that does similar work, but also being deeply connected to our own inner wisdom, is that we know that what is for her is not necessarily what is for me. And so when we're communicating and we're talking back and forth, we can recognize that's a really great way for you to do that. Maybe not for me, and vice versa. Or, we don't necessarily think that we should do the same strategies or the same types of work because of the fact that we're wired differently. We have different life experience. We have different values in certain ways. And I see so many entrepreneurs, coaches, creatives getting caught up in thinking that they need to do the same thing as everyone else. And so many women are selling programs where that's the exact work they're doing. Like, come in, here's my framework, here's how I do it, here's what I do. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Now you're going to do the exact same thing I do. And that is so much of the reason why so many women burn out, why they feel depleted, why they don't have the energy for what they want to be doing, because they're actually trying to follow someone else's prescription. They're just doing what they see online. They're trying to follow someone else's success, and they're not trusting themselves fully to know what is good for them. Just because a strategy works for one person doesn't mean it's for everyone. The question isn't, how do I recreate what they're doing? The question should be, what is mine to create? Because when we're tuned in, when we trust ourselves, when we're in full alignment, we're actually connected to source. We're connected to God. We actually have all the creativity inside of ourselves to allow it to emerge and to come through and to, really change the lives of other people, and not necessarily just doing it in the way that someone is prescribing it. Now, a lot of women ask me all the time, like, what is it that you do with your clients? And I have to say, like, if I was to say anything in particular, I would say it is helping women really connect to their inner trust. It is helping them to understand what their authority is so that they can connect to their wisdom. It's not about giving them the wisdom. It's not about telling them what to do. It's not about giving them advice. So when women work with me, it's all about rebuilding that self-trust. We don't just talk about mindset, although yes, that's so important, because knowing something intellectually doesn't mean that it will change the way you show up. Yes, we're releasing those limiting beliefs. We're changing those patterns. We are identifying what no longer works for you, what maybe is a generational trauma, what has happened in your life that has kept you maybe looping. But there's so many deeper layers that we go. And one of the ways I do that is using human design, because understanding your own unique energetic blueprint helps you to know how you're designed to make decisions, because it's very different than myself. It's very different than the other person next to you, the other coach, the other creative, the other entrepreneur. You are designed to create uniquely. You're designed to work uniquely, to lead uniquely, to receive in a way that is just fully and completely you. And when you understand yourself and you stop trying to force yourself into someone else's way of doing things, then all of a sudden you start to see the success becomes part of everything that is happening in your life. So not only do I use human design, but I really focus on creating safety in the body through nervous system regulation. Because sometimes the reason we fall into that comparison isn't because we don't know our own path. It's because the nervous system doesn't actually feel safe to trust ourselves. I mean, that's crazy to think, but honestly, so many of us struggle with trusting ourselves because it's unfamiliar. We have been conditioned to outsource our power. We've been conditioned to look for someone else to give us the answer. We've been conditioned to look for somebody to provide what it is that we need through their life experience, through their opinion, through a list of pros and cons, and not just sitting back and waiting for the answer, or leaning into that little bit of discomfort or uncertainty until we know the answer. When you are working with me, that is all the work that we do. We work on regulating your nervous system so that you can make those aligned decisions, so that you can start showing up for yourself first, for your life, for your family, for your business, and then become visible in a way that feels aligned for you. And actually do the things that work for you. Be unique. Be yourself. Show up in a way that is actually you. Because it's not about doing everything cookie cutter. It's not about showing up the same way as your friend who's in business or the other coach that is super, super successful. And regulating your nervous system to create safety is how you build the capacity to follow your own soul alignment, to access your intuition, and to fully lean into what is for you and what is not for you. Now, along with that, of course, then we do the embodiment work, which is just such a beautiful process, because self-trust is not something you think your way into. It is something you practice. It is how you are becoming in your life. It is leaning into that God knowing in you, that discernment, that self-trust, that alignment. And that is the vision for who you are. So a lot of people think, identity work is just like, I just want to become someone else or what they are doing or, have the life that they have. But the deeper question might actually be is what's actually for you? And knowing what is for you is going to become the best version of that, which then allows you to have the success you desire, the life you desire, and really do it in your terms. And we do the embodiment work that actually allows you to lean into that and not just copy what everybody else is doing. So the next time you find yourself looking at someone else's journey and going, oh, I should be doing that, I invite you to just take a hot minute. Maybe just take a breath, place your hand on your heart, and then really ask, is this actually mine? Not, would this make me successful? Or would people approve of me if I did this? But is it aligned with who I am becoming? Because your path, my friend, is not meant to look like someone else's path. Your voice, your gifts, your message, your purpose, your way of leading, that is where you come to life. The world does not need another version of the same people who've been doing things over and over again. It needs you to be fully you, fully expressed, fully in alignment, and fully on fire for what it is that you want to bring into the world. I know this was a bit of a shorter episode this time, but I would just want to say thank you for being here. If this is the work that you want to do, and you're ready to stop outsourcing your decisions and start trusting your own inner authority, this is the work we do inside the Soul Aligned Collective, and also one-on-one aligned coaching. So if you're looking for a community, I encourage you to jump into the collective. But if you're looking for a little bit of more of that inner healing work, then Aligned One-on-One Coaching is for you. So you will find all of the information for both of those in the show notes. And either way, I would love to connect with you and just find out what is working for you right now and where is it that you really want to grow in your life. Thank you for being here, for walking this path with me. If this episode supported you, please share it with somebody who's on their own journey and leave a rating and review to help the podcast grow. You can connect with me on Instagram at AndreaCrispCoach or visit me at AndreaCrisp.ca. Until next time, trust your soul knows the way. Original music and production by Stephen Crilly.